Good morning, Sarah.
Morning, Myra.
Sorry, you get to see my Starbucks cup.
Sorry, I got hot chocolate this morning. It's cold.
No, I cannot start a work meeting without coffee. So we're still waiting for Kathy and David.
David. Kathy's here. Hang
Oh,
on,
hi, Kathy. Good morning.
Like, why are we just seeing me? Hang on here.
Good morning. What time is James scheduled to be back?
10:45. I did tell you that.
Did you tell me?
Yes.
Okay.
10:45.
I
He's
was
over at
calling.
Civic.
Because John doesn't look into anybody.
The owl not waking up. So this is why you can only see me and not Kathy. Hang on. Okay, let's see. Why is that not working? It hooted at me. It's not doing its job. There we go.
Good morning, Kathy. I did all my scoring, Kathy, so hopefully like doesn't take, it's not a long meeting.
Yeah.
All right, can you guys hear me now?
Hi, David.
Hello.
Okay, so I don't know where you guys want to start. You just want to tell me what your thoughts are. Today we need to, so just to review, we need to decide who's going to be interviewed on Wednesday so that we can notify them today.
Okay.
Chris would like to see that a list of all of who the presenters were, who the proposals were from,
Okay.
and our scoring sheet rather than top three, which makes sense. So once we get everything, I would need to probably get yours, maybe even just screenshot it and email to me so I can compile it.
Sure, I can do that.
So,
Okay.
but that's what we need to get to, is where we want to go from here.
Okay. So do you want us to tell you what our top three were in terms of the scoring?
Yeah, maybe all five, or at least just, where they fell
Okay.
top to bottom.
Okay.
Just some observations about why.
Okay. Do you want to go in order by firm, or do you want each of us to tell you what our scores were?
That's up to you, whatever feels comfortable.
Okay. Then, so my top one was human capital. Second was Northwest leadership. Third was McPherson and Jacobson. Fourth place was Hazard Young. And last place was OSBA.
So, generally, what was, I mean, because your scores, I guess, will be based on, you know, the criteria that we did.
Yeah.
Um, I found that, you know, some experience was high,
Mhm.
but cost was high.
Yes.
Or, what we got back, what we could expect back from them was far more in-depth than
Yes.
others. So
Yes.
maybe, maybe David, what was yours in your order?
So my order was McPherson and Jacobson, mainly based on tenure, their local, and their price of $21,400.
Mm.
My number 2 was Hazard HYA. Now, let me go back to number 1. I have 1A and 1B. 1A because they're local and their price and their tenure for McPherson and Jacobson. But if we are going national, it would be HYA in my mind, although their price is very high at $37,400, but I'm not sure if we're doing a national search. My third was Northwest Leadership and Associates. They are regional to Oregon and Washington, and their pricing was very good at $21,100. And then I went on to OSBA at 20, but their pricing for what they're giving, that's why I marked them fourth, is around $25,000. And I just thought it was way too high for what they're offering. And then last was Human Capital Enterprises. The proposal just didn't cut it. They are local, more local than any of them, but $39,650 is a huge jump in pricing. I didn't get through all the scoring because I was working on this all the way up to about midnight last night. If you guys need the scoring, I am out of town, but when I get back, I can get it to you.
Well, yeah, that, I think we probably should have that to follow up with, just for the record. I want to look at, the HYA because I did not have their pricing that high.
Let me find it real quick.
So, yeah, I mean, not to exceed 24,500 plus not to exceed expenses of 2,550 or 550, so that's under like 29. You said, what did you say, 39 or did you say
37.
29?
He said 37.
37.4. Maybe that 3 is a 2. Hold on. Okay, so HYA search fee 24,500. Travel reimbursement by district between 35 to 5,500. Pricing for option, and then if you have the optional services, you're adding on 3,400, 2,000, and 1,950, and that comes out to a total of 37,400.
Well, yeah, if you select those, because all of them have, I mean, the pricing, all of them have add-on expenses.
And then they have the travel
Um,
reimbursement and lodging and the background checks
Yeah.
for the candidates.
Yeah, so all of them have that, so we should, and I think that so that the background check, for instance, in that HYA, it's included. It's only if we want to step up the background check. That's why it's an add-on. And the same thing is for advertising. They include and that's one of the things. So I will just say, my list, let's see. I did all my scoring and then just didn't add them up total. My scoring is based on, and unfortunately, as I read through all of these, I was looking through all of the stuff that I looked at to make me include what I did in the RFP. which is, it's certainly expertise and experience and price. It's also the answers to the proposal requirements, which some did not do very well at all. So even if they have maybe some experience, they didn't answer the questions, and I don't have enough. If I'm basing it just on the proposal versus what I might know about them, they didn't score well. OSBA was absolutely last in a big margin
Yes.
because they didn't respond to the questions. And I'm gonna apologize, I walked out without my glasses, so. The other thing is that they gave a calendar, but no details at all about what their specificity would be. In their, especially with the references, but there was, well, they didn't give any
So it's very generic.
successful. It was very
I
generic.
agree with
So
you. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
that was. So my order was HYA, and I'll tell you why, then McPherson, Northwest, and then Human Capital, and again, mostly because of the cost. But so it was so interesting. I did a lot of research on the districts that and on the districts that people listed. And so some of the ones and the experience of the people doing the search. So for Northwest Leadership, for example, the two people that are assigned to us, Jada has 3 years, Dave has 2 with the firm. I have no idea how many searches they personally have done. So that brought into it. The last 3 of their 4 references for schools were less than 5,000. So they have 1 that was a good size. So that's where those scores came down for me. There's also a really important, I mean, the person, HYA gave the best level of detail about what they will do specifically, how they'll do it, and how they'll, ascertain the information from the community, and what they're gonna give back for us. I did actually see one of their reports for one of the references. It's a volume of information. It's the successes and opportunities. It's and what they said was that it's so important to bring that for the new superintendent for success, because it gives them a bird's eye view of where the community is, and all of them, staff, board, everywhere. Human Capital, for example, gives you a 1-page summary. It's not a report at all, it's just a summary. So those are the kinds of things that I included in my scoring. It was a lot more in-depth, which comes under the transparent search process and what we're gonna get back. Okay, so then there's one other really key difference, and it's interesting that the difference between OSBA especially and all the other firms. Sorry, I'm a little tired. The research that I did also showed that even with national searches, a lot of the appointments were from in the region. So I think there's value for the national search, but we are at a juncture right now where local doesn't matter to me. It's more of what is your reach in terms of qualified, not just qualified, every candidate's gonna be qualified. It's matching a specific skill set that Gresham-Barlow needs today. And so when you look at that, OSBA says, we don't keep a roster of candidates, we just post. And they are proud of that. They don't want to have a roster. Everybody else has a group of people that they work with that is constantly, in contact with them. I think HYA, the reason why they stood out is two things. One is the detail level of their both their proposal, how they're going to do it, some of the things that they talked about, was, I'm not gonna be able to they do a deep dive about the candidates themselves. Most of it, they do a post satisfaction with the board. But they have, when they post on their website or wherever they post everybody's opening, not just theirs.
Mm.
So they by far surpass any of the other proposals in terms of the number of people that they're reaching. The other thing that was the most interesting to me, and I'm not sure if you saw that in there, was the board portal.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
That is pretty, comprehensive in terms of keeping the board, individual board members, involved and informed of where they are in the process, where we are in the process at every juncture. That was, really important to me. It was interesting too, and just again, reference to OSBA, Sarah noticed too, when she was looking at these, everybody does the same process where they go out and see the community. They meet with the board members, they create the qualifications, they get, public input on that. OSBA does, said they'll do an online survey, and if we ask them, they'll do it in person. So David, that's interesting that their bid was about the same, but it doesn't even include in-person meetings with people.
I agree with every point. I agree with every point you're saying on HYA. Matter of fact, I had them and McPherson both a 1A and a 1B. My only thing was the pricing, which if we don't put all the add-ons, then they're pretty much in line with everyone else. And the other one was, I didn't know if we were interested in a nationwide search, moving somebody here, all that stuff. If we're interested in that, I am agree with you 100% on HYA.
Okay, so let me tell you something. It's so interesting because a couple of them described it in detail, but what you have to understand is that McPherson and Jacobson are in Nebraska. That's where their firm is located. Most of the firms. Well, but
They have local consultants.
yes, so that's what I was trying to say, David, is most of the firms have, although they might be national, they have local consultants that work with you individually. But their base of the national search, like HYA, they have people that work within our community that will be kind of boots on the ground. But what we have, and HYA said this too, what they have is the back office support. Nobody else mentioned the support that the firm gives to those consultants. I'm not sure how this works, but I don't know if you noticed that with McPherson Jacobson, it doesn't say, they give us two, the project team, doesn't say who the lead is, but the second person is a current superintendent with Beaverton School District. So how do you juggle being a current superintendent for a Beaverton, size of Beaverton? And you're gonna be a consultant on a. I mean,
that's a red flag that I didn't see.
I felt like, I noticed that too, Kathy, and I felt like they were using him as a token to say that they have someone of color who will provide that lens or will provide that expertise. And I felt the same way about McPherson and Jacobson. They didn't say people of color. They kept using the word minority. And in our district, students of color are the global majority. And I felt like they were using that as like, hey, we also include racial diversity and inclusion values. But I didn't feel like it was genuine.
Which firm were you talking about?
This is McPherson and Jacobson. Right in their introduction, just right in their introduction, or I think it's in their executive summary, or right in the beginning of the proposal, like they mentioned that they have minority experts, and that didn't sit well with me, and I kept reading, and it just felt like it was an add-on, like to check the box.
Where did you have Myra?
David?
I was just wondering where you scored HYA.
They were they were tied with HYA.
McPherson,
Where did you
Jacobson,
score
and H.
HYA?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Four, she
Okay, so
scored
I
him
think-
fourth out of 5. But 3 and 4 were tied.
Yeah, so I have Human Capital Northwest as my top 2, and then McPherson and Hazard Young as tied as my second and third, or third and fourth.
Successful
Yeah.
candidate placement is, from, everything that I've read, is based on your reach to potential candidates and your ability and experience to match, find out what is the needed skill set in the community, and then matching those. With Northwest Leader, Sarah, you have a call-in listener.
Yeah, and they can call in,
Yeah,
because it's a public committee meeting.
it's just, the 2 and 3 years of experience in the search.
There was also, did you see Human Capital had a table where they had the list of their recruits and how long they have been there? McPherson and Jacobson, they only have 60% retention rate with 10 years or more, and then 80% within 5 years. So I felt like their retention was low compared to Human Capital.
Yes.
And that's something that the community has been asking for, right? They want someone who's going to be here for the long run. So I'm glad, David, that you looked at cost. I did look at that, but that wasn't a priority. I was looking more at how they would engage the community and their retention. And then the other factor that I looked at was the work that they would do with the board, how they were going to engage us. So I did appreciate that the ones that mentioned that they would do one-on-ones with us and that they would have that board portal for us.
I think that's good because we all bring a different set of eyes.
Yeah.
And I think that between us, we're gonna find somebody that's gonna do this for us.
Yeah.
Myra, my question is after listening to what she's saying about HYA, after you listen to that, does that change what you're looking at all?
Let me look at this. That one scored a little low for me only because of all the add-ons. Like it wasn't. I know they all have add-ons, but I felt like that one had the most add-ons. And I could be wrong. Maybe I didn't read it.
No, you're right because
But
if you look at where's it at, they had four or 5 different steps of add-ons.
yes, and and I felt in the other ones, I felt like it was like this is everything, like the basic, like what I felt should be included in the cost, and then it was like the travel and lodging. I was like, okay, that makes sense that that would be an add-on because they don't know what that's going to be. And with HYA, it was a baseline of the cost and then a bunch of add-ons. Like so that's how they would add up to like 37,000, right? And then it becomes comparable to the other ones.
Right, so
If you're not doing all those add-ons.
Yeah, so just to clarify, on the advertising for HYA, the board will choose the package. Advertising on the HIA website, the National School Board, all of that's included in the base fee. So only if you wanted to broaden that search, but you have to look at that in conjunction with their roster or the people they already communicate with. So we most likely wouldn't need that. And I have to go back, let's see. Same thing might be, I'm not sure about the background check, so that's not very much, but so that's probably the biggest cost.
And I
And
think if you guys opted to interview this person,
Yeah.
that could be
We'll
a
all- yeah,
good question to clarify with them.
right now it's
Yeah.
just trying to get down to, I think the top 3. I
Mhm.
think that's what we can reasonably interview.
Yeah. Yeah, HWA I heard Northwest Leadership,
Yes, Northwest Leadership.
HYA,
Northwest Leadership and Human Capital, or is it? Are those our top three?
yeah, I am,
I had
cost
human
isn't
capital
an
last.
issue.
I had them last based on cost at 39,650. Let me see where I got that. It was huge.
Mhm.
I don't know. I got a business background. I'm always looking at cost. Yeah, base
And we
fee.
should too.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
base fee for
but
comprehensive superintendent search package, 39,650.
yeah, no, I agree that we should definitely take cost in consideration, but not at the expense of quality.
Not at the expense of what?
Of quality.
No, I agree. I would be comfortable with HYA, Northwest Leadership, and Human Capital.
Me too.
The cost on Human Capital is just really high.
Mhm. And that's something that we can ask too. Like, hey, you are the most expensive one. Tell us what makes you exceptional. What makes you worth your cost?
Yes.
Yeah, and I have to say, you guys, I've been working on this for quite a while, and I just found a different set of criteria that I forgot that I had, so I recreated this one.
Mhm.
And that's on there, what sets you apart. Because of the details of what we get from HYA that are so unique that human capital doesn't at all provide. That makes for me the difference in pricing even more stark.
Okay.
So I don't want to. I guess my concern about human capital is I don't want to miss hearing from another firm that would provide the same level of service and not the price tag. Because you guys, honestly, every one of these firms is qualified to do the job. It's going to be based on the level of trust and relationship we have in the interview,
Mhm.
which is why we really want to see them. And I don't know, the others would have to fall flat in order for human capital for me to come forward with enough uniqueness to warrant that cost.
Mhm.
There was one person that said, and I can't remember now, I didn't note that said, I think it was, oh, shoot, hold on. It seemed like there was one, and I'll have to look at, that said, we will match any price.
Yes, that
Okay.
was, I saw that too. That was, I wrote it down. McPherson and Jacobson.
Okay, because if it was human capital, I'd be like, wait a minute, I'm gonna go high,
Yeah,
but if I need to, I'll go low.
yeah. It was-
I mean, yeah, hold on. So to answer my question about not wanting to not talk to somebody else that we might otherwise talk to,
Mhm.
given the McPherson and the Beaverton superintendent and OSBA, I think for me, that means I don't think I need to talk to them, which leaves a spot open for human capital.
Yeah.
I mean, my point was I didn't want to, if I didn't see even probably a remote way forward for human capital, I wouldn't want to take a spot.
Mhm.
But I think that
The other two is
that
we're not even going to look at.
Yeah. So Kathy, you're suggesting Northwest Leadership, HWA, and Human Capital.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, those are the same ones that David and I said. So I think, yeah, we can interview those.
Okay.
At
What
what point do you guys need the grading?
I
At
can,
what point, what?
the
No, the
scoring.
grading sheets. I probably won't even be able to get those to you guys till Tuesday.
Okay, well, you know what, if that's, David, if you can do that, then I'll just bring it to the meeting. I don't, the board doesn't need it. Chris wanted to see it, and I'll just give her our ratings
Mhm.
and the reasons why. And I'm trying to figure out timeline.
I can,
I need to call.
I can send you screenshots of mine if you want to share those with Chris. I
No,
can,
that's- well, let me just, what I could do, I just need your guys' permission, if you will trust me, to give them our top 5 in the order.
Mhm.
And then, based on my recollection of our conversation right now, how we got to, because human capital are the 2 low ones. But if I can just, kind of in summary form, here's because of this concern or that concern or this point brought up, this is what we came to decide the top 3.
okay.
And I can show you guys that if you wanted to review it before I send it to
Yeah, that works.
Chris.
Yeah,
That would
I'm
work.
comfortable
Okay,
with
I'll
that.
try. Okay,
Can you just text us when you send that to us so we can look at, we don't make you wait.
yeah. Although I really can call the consultants, because we're gonna go with these 3. It's just
Okay.
how we communicate our results.
Yeah.
And know that it's just a summary right now, that we'll get all the scoring for the file
Okay.
before. Okay, wow, that was fast.
Do we need to,
Good work.
do we need to set tentative dates? Do you want us to block out any times or anything?
For interviewing? Sorry.
For for interviewing, or if we need to touch base again, like I just want to make sure that we have time blocked out if you need us for anything. Besides
So
looking at the
what
summary.
Yeah, the process for me going forward is, I'm gonna have a list of draft interview questions to Chris today.
Okay.
And I think we'll just go with those. Actually, no, I will send it to you and David for review,
Mhm, mhm,
because you guys are now more familiar. You need to say what we want to know,
mhm.
and I'll CC Chris. So that we don't have to post anywhere, so I think we could finish that on, when are you back, David? Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday, if that's.
Tuesday of next week.
Is that right, David? Are you back Tuesday?
Sorry, guys, I was muted. I am back Tuesday. As far as interviews go, just a heads up, I'm in New Orleans from October 1st to the 4th.
Okay.
But I mean, we still have 2.5 weeks before that.
Well, yeah, we're gonna interview on next Wednesday, so
Next
you'll be
Wednesday.
here for the interviews.
Yes. Next Wednesday, the 18th.
Okay, so,
Are we interviewing during the
yeah, so,
board meeting?
yes, the work session is the interviews
Oh, okay, got
with
it.
the entire
Okay.
board.
Okay, great.
Okay.
So in a
Perfect.
perfect world, you guys, if I could draft the reason, get the questions drafted. We'd need to approve the questions before Tuesday. So David, if you had a chance, great, give my feedback. If not, then we'll get them approved. And then if, depending on how the interviews go, if we have some time after the interviews, I want to find out if we can discuss that in executive session or we have to do public, doesn't matter. But if we can, if everybody's comfortable with the selection, then somebody would, Chris or I suppose, I don't know, or legal, would write the contract, negotiate the contract, which would then, and the only thing about that is I might want a special session to approve the contract so they can get started.
Yeah.
And potentially get us a schedule by the 2nd. If not, then we approve it on the 2nd, but that's just 2 weeks wasted of waiting for an agenda item. So I don't know. I'm working on what the logistics are for that, but that's how fast it will go.
Okay. So
Okay.
yeah, if you want to
Yeah.
just text us, if there's anything that you need us to look at right away, or if you have any questions, instead of email, so that we get to you right away.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sounds
Okay.
good.
it's gonna be a summary, because I'm out of time today, but I will give you a summary and the questions.
Okay. sounds
Maybe, yeah, I'll try to get the questions to you right away so you can be fresh on what it is we wanted to ask.
good. Okay.
And yeah, okay,
Sounds good. All right, you guys.
Thank
Have
you.
fun. Thank you,
Bye, have
Kathy.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you, Mara.
thanks.
Right. Bye.
Bye.